I will never forget the way he looked the rest of my life. Just then, he violently grabbed my scissors and stabbed me in the arm.
Oh!
When he attacked, suddenly I felt a deep pain.
Where's Johnny
and
Bravo
I was
at?
so terrified, thinking that we were going to die in here.
Johnny, do something!
Closed my eyes, and then my friend started punching his face.
Alright guys, so before this video gets started, I have some quick announcements. One, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that post notifications. Why? Because it helps me, guys, and it lets me know that you guys are supporting me. Two, reason why I want you to do that, I know I don't say that a lot. If you guys haven't noticed, bro, my channel is super ridiculously hard to find, alright? It's not like any other channel that you could just type in their name and then they pop up. No, because of my name is Mr. President. When you type it in on YouTube, it's gonna give you a whole bunch of political stuff that it has nothing to do with my channel. I don't know why I chose it. I'll tell you guys maybe later on why I did, but that's just another story for a different day. But yeah, guys. Two, welcome back for. Oh wait, no, we did two. Three, welcome back for another scary story weekends. Wait, I said that wrong. Yo, I'm messing up so hard, bro. I might keep that in. So what we're checking out today is 16 horror stories animated compilation of June 2020. Yo, Wansi, this dude right here, he's a goat. Off rip, bro. Him and Llama are goats. They're goated all time, bro. No cap. They put out the best scary stories. Whether it's actually the only thing they do is animated scary stories. Yeah, but still, they're goated, bro. So without further ado, go get your popcorns, go get your snacks, go get your pillow, your blanket, whatever it is that you guys feel comfortable in. Go get it right now. I'm gonna give you our time. We're about to sit through. Oh my god, an hour?
My life and I can take this shit for granted. I'm from a different breed, like I'm from a different planet. They keep me where it hurt, but your boy's still standing. It's easier to fly, but
y'all boys ready? If y'all wondering what happened to my hoodie, it's laundry day and it's drying right now, so I almost got killed by a weird guy in an empty road. Oh my god.
It was wintertime, and Christmas
Shoot,
was
it feel like
approaching.
winter right now.
I was 25 years old, and I was going to meet up with some of my friends
Oh
who
my
lived on the
God.
other side of the city. It was a 4-hour
Y'all don't know my
drive
struggle,
from my
bro.
place, so I decided to take my own car instead of a...
Y'all don't know my struggle, bro. I gotta deal with so many wires right now. My phone that I'm watching the camera with is plugged in. This is plugged in right now. Those are the only two. But it's much more complicated than it seems, alright?
Cool cab. It was my first time going alone on such a long drive, and I felt nervous, but excited. At midday, I packed my bags, threw them in the trunk, and went off to meet my friends. It was a cold day, but the roads were clear. I didn't see much traffic as it was the holidays, and people would rather spend time with their families and friends indoors.
So
and
where's this
stay
guy
off the
going?
roads. Now, I'm not the type of person to go straight to my friend's house. I like to take my time.
This man.
I'm a social media freak, and I enjoy posting pictures pretty much all the time.
Yo.
So-
You could tell this dude is the type to post his location at like almost every other second.
I found the journey an excellent excuse to post some extra pictures.
This man.
The road I was taking had beautiful scenery, and the place where
He
my
loves the
friends lived
attention.
was even more magical. I stopped a lot during my ride to take pictures. I was having a great time by myself. Well, that was until the weather suddenly changed. It was around 6 p.m., and I was still driving. I still had a long way ahead of me. And that's when it started to snow. Not just a dusting of snow, it was thick and heavy. After 15 minutes or so, the roads were already covered with a few feet of snow. I felt anxious, since
Bro,
it
that
was
looks
getting dark
dangerous.
and I wasn't even halfway through the drive. My car slowed down,
Oh,
and I had to
hell
force it to
nah.
run on the empty roads.
Nah.
The heavy snow didn't stop.
You're
I decided
tripping.
that I would stop at the closest gas station I could find, but unfortunately, I couldn't find one for a while. An hour later, I finally saw some lights shining from the distance. It was a gas station.
That little ass gas
I pressed
station.
the accelerator, rushed to the station.
Yo, did
parked
that
my
say
car, and
Wannsee
went
gas
inside
station?
quickly. Just as I entered, a strong snowstorm started. The gas station had a little shop tucked away with some chairs to sit on. The guy at the counter was an ordinary fellow.
I forgot the title of this video.
He didn't really talk much. He only
Oh
asked
my
me where I was
God.
going in such harsh weather.
Oh, the story. The
After
story.
that,
I mean,
I
the
bought
story.
some chips and drinks and sat down in the furthest chair from him. It was night now. I sat, munched on my food, and scrolled through an Instagram. Then, suddenly, the shop's door opened. I looked up, and a very weird-looking man entered. He had long, greasy hair, was wearing a long coat.
Bro, that
and
was
had a
like
very
Carnage.
grim expression. I saw him buy some cigarettes, and he sat down a few chairs away from me.
Damn.
He didn't look at me at all.
He looks angry.
At first, I ignored him, but then he started smoking. Since the shop was small and the smoke filled the air quickly, the shopkeeper told him to stop, but he
Bro,
didn't listen.
you're at a gas
He
station.
couldn't
Why
ask
would
him
you
to leave
smoke at a
because
gas
of the storm.
station?
So
duck.
he didn't say anything else. I, on the other hand, hated cigarettes. The weird guy was looking down, breathing very heavily as he smoked. It was as if he was breathing in my ears.
Ew.
So when he took out his fifth cigarette, I lost my temper and angrily told him to stop. He looked at me for a couple of minutes. His big eyes were red with anger. But then he smiled and stopped smoking.
I told y'all boys that's
The
carnage.
smile was unnerving.
Nah,
I sat down
fam.
again and distracted myself on my phone.
Hold
Shortly
up,
after-
man. So you stand up, bro. Tell that boy to stop smoking angrily, and then you sit back down. Nah, bro. Nah. You can't just run from the smoke like that, bro. Sorry, boys. You can't just run from the smoke like that, man. Like, ironically speaking. Anyways, you can't do that, bro. You gotta stand your ground, bro, because as soon as you step back or sit down, they're gonna put their foot in your throat, bruh. They're gonna come at you. Now, I haven't seen this story, but watch what's gonna happen.
My friend called me, asking why I hadn't reached their place yet. And I told him the whole story, and he said the storm would soon be over, and I shouldn't worry. When I hung up, I noticed the weird guy staring at
Look
my
at that.
phone with
Look at
deep
that.
interest. I was afraid that he was thinking of stealing it. But to my relief, after some time, he got up to leave. At the door, he stopped, looked back, and screamed loudly before running away.
That's when you gotta
scaring
go.
the crap out of me and the shopkeeper.
That's when you gotta go,
He
bro.
didn't return after that.
He probably is gonna flick
At
his
10:30
cigarette
PM,
at
the
that
storm
gas
ended,
pump.
and I immediately left after thanking the shopkeeper. I went into my car, started it, and drove off.
I feel bad for the
For some
shopkeeper,
time,
bro.
I drove in silence, but then I heard a noise. It sounded like heavy breathing. My heart rate shot up and my hands got all sweaty as the breathing sounded so familiar and so close. I looked through my rearview mirror.
He's in your
and
whip.
screamed.
Oh!
The shop was sitting
Yo!
in my back seat, smiling at me. I pressed the brakes very hard, got out of the car, and started running. I felt him running after me too, yelling at the top of his lungs.
He's got a
The
knife.
road was empty, and I felt hopeless as I knew he was faster than me. I only looked back once to
Yo,
see
look
him
how
run like
he's
an
wa-
unnatural
look
being,
how he's running,
holding
bro.
a knife in his hand.
Oh my
I
god.
increased my pace, still wondering how on earth he got inside my car. I might have forgotten to lock the door when
This
I first
man.
left to go to the gas
That's your
station.
fault.
But now, it was too late for regret. My life was at risk because some psychopath was after me. Then I saw some headlights at a distance. I started waving my hands like a maniac, screaming for them to stop. They did, and it turned out to be my friend.
Damn.
He had
Oh,
come
that's
to
the
pick me up as he
homie.
was worried since I was pretty late.
He's the
and thought
MVP.
something went wrong. I looked back, and I saw that guy was gone.
He's the
I
MVP
got
for
inside
that.
my friend's car and told him everything. He called the cops, and they arrived shortly after. We all went to my car first
Damn,
and noticed
bro.
some marks made by a knife in the back seat. The cops couldn't find the guy anywhere. After some investigation, they let us leave.
Damn,
I
bro.
drove my car, and my friend drove his car back to his place. The cops never found the guy, and to this day, I still wonder what would have happened if my friend didn't turn up that night.
You would have been dead. The murder in front of my house walls.
I was 12 years
What?
old when this happened. My grandmother just got home from the hospital because she had a stroke. She couldn't go up to the second floor of our house, in which her room was located. So my uncle, my little brother, and I decided that we were going to sleep in her room for a while. Before this day happened, my aunt bought a new air conditioner, so the old one would be removed. And of course, there was a hole in the wall for the air conditioner.
Bruh.
I covered the hole with some kind of small box before working on the wall.
That's a
So the
glory
air
hole,
wouldn't come
bro.
Anyway, back to the situation. My
Oh
uncle and
my
I were
God.
playing a mobile game at 3 a.m. when this happened.
Among Us?
We played for about an hour or so until my little brother had fallen asleep. While I was paying attention, I suddenly heard a small scratching sound coming from the hole on the wall where I covered it with a box. Its sound was like someone trying to remove it with something. However, I just ignored it at first, because I thought it might be a cat trying to remove the cover.
Nah,
After
fam.
5 minutes, my uncle heard the sound and he whispered in my ear saying, "Did you hear that sound?" I said, "Yeah, I heard it too, but maybe it's just a cat.
Go
Forget
check
about
it out, bro.
After that, we had forgotten about the sound and we just
Nah,
played again.
fam. Go check
Until
on
that
it.
moment. All of a sudden, my uncle quickly put down his cell phone and started to search with the flashlight. "What's wrong?" I asked him, but he pointed his finger on his mouth and pointed it to the window. It was quiet outside. "That's weird. I heard someone's footsteps." He talked to me sitting back next to me. I tried to say that it's nothing, but this time I heard those footsteps. Someone
check
was
it out.
outside walking around with a creaking sound. So we eventually decided to look for it,
Y'all getting me
opening
hot.
the box cover. But before we could get closer, my little brother began to scream.
What's wrong
We
with
were
dude?
shocked by that, but then we just laughed, thinking our reaction was silly. I talked to my little brother and asked him what happened. He said that he had a nightmare. We laughed again, much bigger this time. Bump! We abruptly froze when we heard loud footsteps from a roof away from us. My heart dropped.
Homeboy's in the attic.
What was it? My uncle said with an anxious
fam.
voice.
Yo, that uncle better
We
go
then
check
stayed
it out.
away from the wall and started panicking. I started to think that it might be a thief who was trying to enter our house. What if he would try to kill us? How are we going to stop him? What should I do? However, despite all my worries, nothing happened after that. There were no footsteps anymore, but my uncle and I had to stay up until the next morning, shivering together. A few days later, my grandpa covered the wall with cement. And that day, we were watching the local news and we heard that one of our neighbors, who lived right next to us, had been murdered. They also reported that the suspect has not been found, so the cops were struggling to arrest him.
He's in your
We just couldn't
attic.
believe the news. We just watched the news with our mouth open. That moment became the worst nightmare of my whole life. What if I dared to try to remove that small box to see
Boom.
outside?
Knife in your
that
eye,
day?
boy. For being nosy. True horror Ouija board story animated.
For this story, my name will be Charlie. Years ago, my first
Chocolate
year of
Factory?
college, I lived in a dorm. But if only I knew what was going to happen. I earned a scholarship to college for baseball, and all the players lived in one dorm. Being that I was a freshman, they roomed me with a senior so he could show me what right looks like. He was a pretty tough guy who no one would mess with, so I felt like I was in good hands. It was the winter, and by that time of the school year, I was pretty set in my ways and comfortable. I was invited to a house party that one of the sororities were throwing, so I went with a few friends.
I see you, bro.
When we got there, it was like any other party. People were outside, and some were
Hey.
inside having fun.
Before Corona
While
hit.
inside, there was music playing along with people playing video games in one room, and it looked like a board game going on in the other. That was
Oh
upstairs.
my god.
After a while, I went upstairs to see why anyone would be playing a board game at a party.
Don't do it,
When I
bro.
got to the room, I noticed that it was the most quiet room in the house, which was odd to me. When I walked in the room, there were 4 girls and a guy sitting at a table. I asked what was going on, and they said they were using the Ouija board.
You already know, man. He just
Thought it
went there for
sounded
the
interesting,
girls.
so I joined. But I never really believed in that type of stuff. While we
Until
were messing
now.
with the board, they said that there was a girl in the room. But I think that one of the other people that were playing moved it, so I left. That's when unexplainable stuff would happen to me in my dorm.
Oh,
I hear
man.
laughing in our hallways at odd times of the night.
Oh,
window.
shoot.
And I started to
Oh.
have bad dreams. I told my roommate, but he told me it was stress from our upcoming midterms.
This man.
That went on for about 2 weeks. Then one night, everything changed for both of us. I remember it being a Thursday night when this happened. I was asleep in the middle of the night, and all I heard was, "Charlie! Charlie! Charlie, wake up!" I remember making noises and being half asleep, but I acknowledged them.
What's
And he
wrong with
said
dude?
something that woke me up immediately.
Charlie, what the is that in the corner?
I looked in the corner of the room
Where?
and I swear
Where?
there was
Oh,
a
oh
silhouette
my
of a
God.
girl. I was so afraid that I jumped off the top bunk and I told
Holy
my roommate
shit.
to get up and run. and I could
That
get
boy was
some
like,
petrified.
yo.
He was under his covers quivering. Then she
No.
spoke.
No.
You seem so scared.
Yeah,
All I
Charlie.
wanted to do was play with you.
Yeah, Charlie. Messing with Ouija
I
boards
told
and
him
stuff.
to run out, and we both ran out of our room. He was yelling as she's talking. After that, we were both so shaken that we never went back to that room. We called the police, but when they came, they
Cops
never
ain't gonna
found
do
anything.
nothing.
I don't know if it was because of the house party, Ouija board game, or coincidence, but that was a moment that I'll never forget.
Fam, you got a demon
this
stuck
day,
to you, bro, and you never
I
gonna get
still
rid of
hear
that.
odd noises throughout the night wherever I go.
I told you. I told him. Nah, fam. My neighbor was a serious stalker.
When I was 7
Oh,
or
I
8
can't
years
read.
old, a
I
man
can't
moved
read
to my
today.
neighborhood. He was around his 60s and introduced himself to me. His name was Tom.
Hanks?
He was the only one who spoke English fluently in our neighborhood, but he always tried to speak our native language. He seemed really nice at first. One day after school, my friends and I saw a new cafe in our neighborhood. We were curious and wanted to know how many desserts they had, so we stopped by and looked inside. Then we heard
This man is
someone
creepy,
say,
bro.
"Hello, kids." He then said, "Come on in. You can have all the desserts you want for
Man,
free."
this guy's a freaking
Without
pedophile,
thinking,
bro.
We went inside and stayed there for 2 hours. After that,
Whatever
we
happens to
soon
him, I
stayed
hope
there
he- I hope
almost
he
every day after
Deserves all of
school.
that, bro.
Everyone
I mean, he does
started
deserve
to
all of
like
that.
Tom. One day, we went
I
to
hope
his
something
cafe
bad
like
happens
we
to him,
usually
bro.
did, but for some reason, I felt kind of uncomfortable. Because at some point, I noticed that there were only kids inside his shop.
Oh, that's his shop.
Tom came to me and said, "Hey, I saw you yesterday with a cat. Do you like cats?" I said yes.
Oh my god.
And he proceeded to talk to me more. He told me that he has 8 cats in his house and showed me pictures of his cats.
Those
All
ain't
of a
his cats,
sudden,
bro.
one of his pictures from inside his wallet fell to the floor. I picked it up and I could see a girl's face with blonde curly hair and green eyes. I thought that she was his granddaughter, but what he told me next was a huge shock. He said, "Oh, this is my wife.
What?
She lives in London right now."
Oh, no,
I
no,
was confused
no, hell no,
because the
hell
girl
no,
in the picture
hell
was
no.
just a kid.
Call the cops.
Maybe 14 or 15
Call the cops
years
right now.
old.
Bro, what are you
I
talking about,
thought
man?
that he was lying or something. Then I got up. "Oh, I forgot. My mom is waiting for me." So I quickly left the shop and went back home.
Stupid
Then I
pedophile, bro.
just hugged my mom. The next day, when I got to school, there were policemen everywhere. I didn't understand what was going on. Then one police officer walked over to me and he said, "Kid, you have to come with us."
Why?
They also called my parents, so we went to the police station together. It turned out that Tom's warrant was served. They found lots of data on his computer about the young girls who were raped by him.
Oh.
He even lied about his name. His real name was Hardin. The worst and most horrible thing was
Don't tell
when
me
they
they
entered
fought
his
bodies.
room.
Oh.
The entire wall was covered with my pictures. When they said
She
this
saved
to my
herself.
parents, I was terrified, so I fainted.
She saved
the police
herself, bro.
arrested him, and he was put in jail for several years.
Good. To
now
life.
I'm 18 years old.
You should get that
but
death
I am
sentence.
still afraid. According to my neighbors, he's returning to our neighborhood. I don't.
He
know
got
the
out?
route, and I don't even know what to do. If anyone has any advice, please help me and let me know what I should do.
I got some advice for you. This is what you need to do. Y'all boys already know.
When I was 17 years old, I went to my friend's birthday
I ain't gonna
party.
say nothing else.
Lots of teenagers were drinking illegally. However, I was never into that kind of stuff, so I just sat with other friends and we just talked. Then, one guy I had never met before joined the party and started talking to another group of people. Soon he turned to me and introduced himself as John. He was quite tall and
You
had
could tell that's a
remarkably
fake
blue
name.
eyes. He seemed like a pretty nice guy at first, but he gradually started to act weird. He kept following me and seemed to have a strong obsession with me. One of my friends, Callum, saw my discomfort, so he said,
He got jealous.
"Quit it, man. Don't be a creep." John looked back at Callum, and the look in his eyes made my skin crawl.
He ain't scared of
Why?
you, Callum. Oh!
Mine. What he
Oh!
said was kind of creepy, so I called my dad to come
What you
and
about to
get
do,
me.
Callum?
Callum stayed with me while I was waiting for my dad at the front of the house.
Damn.
He's watching us. Callum told me, and my body went stiff. "Here, hold my hand. If he thinks we're together, he might give up." So I held his hand, and then a loud shout of
Hold up.
anger.
As soon as he said, "Bro, she's mine," you should have thrown hands with her, bro. Or you know, not take the violent approach. Before he would have said that, you should have went up to them and be like, "Hey, babe, are you all right? Can I get you a drink?" Or, "Hey, babe, you want to get out of this place?" You should have said that. Assert your dominance, bro. Don't let no other dude, some weirdo, freaking take your girl, bro. Come on now.
Came from behind us. We both looked, and John was
Look
headed
at that.
straight
That
towards
boy
us.
hot.
I was getting really worried. He looked like he was going to hit Callum. But just then my dad
shoot.
arrived. So I grabbed Callum's hand and we ran to the car.
Callum like that.
As soon as we both jumped in, I explained everything.
All right, Dad.
to
What you about to
him.
do? You about to
When we
you about to
dropped
beat
him
him up?
off at his house and returned home, I was leaning over my bed and about to go to sleep. And then I heard the front gate open. When I looked out the window, to my
No.
horror,
He
John
followed
was
y'all.
sneaking into our yard. Dad got mad when I told him this, so he grabbed his baseball bat
This
and went
man
straight outside.
grabbed a baseball
But when
bat.
he came back after a while, he was frowning. He said you left your jacket. When I got my jacket, a small piece of paper fell out of my pocket. Dad picked it up and opened it. "You're mine, Michelle."
Oh.
A few weeks passed. That experience had made me and Callum really close, so we started dating.
Okay.
One day, while we were watching a movie
Okay,
at
my
the
boy
theater,
got right.
I really had to go to the toilet. I rushed to the bathroom to avoid missing too much of the
Yo.
film. On my way back, at the door of the theater, John was there.
Oh my God.
He looked furious
Yo.
and was actually crying.
He's
Then
heartbroken.
he rushed towards me and said, "How could you do this to me?" I was baffled.
Yo. Yo, I'm about to roll the clip. Y'all remember when Patrick and his and SpongeBob's pet Gary, they were like, they were like, I don't know, they were like hanging out a lot lately, and SpongeBob got jealous. That scene when Patrick's like, "Yo, how could you do this to me?"
I thought what we had was special!
"I haven't done anything to you." He just stood there, stared at me, so I rushed back into the theater and told Callum what was going on.
Callum, now is
He
your time.
left the theater immediately.
That boy's scared.
I was pretty nervous about what happened, but I also thought everything would be alright soon.
Nah.
However, I was totally
Baby
wrong.
girl, you need to tell
A few
Callum to
days
protect
later,
you.
I was in my backyard working on my art project when I heard sobbing. I turned around and John was there, holding a small
Oh my
container
God.
of medication in his left hand.
That boy OD'd.
My legs began to tremble as he moved closer to me. "Why are you here?" I asked him. "I missed you, Michelle. I've been following you nearly every day. Are you with Callum just to make me jealous because it's working?" No, you are wrong. As John began smiling, my mouth went dry. "I don't even know you, so please leave."
There's something going
But
on.
when I said this, he began crying again as he pulled out a knife
This
and
man-
pointed it
oh.
at me. I screamed and began running towards my back fence. But before I reached it, he caught my shirt and pulled me to the ground. He held the knife to my cheek and then yelled, "I love you, Michelle. Nobody else can have you. You're mine."
Oh my God, bro.
I
This
was horrified.
dude is
And
freaking
tears
sick.
were rolling down my face. "Get off her!" All of a sudden, my dad, who was
Finally.
gardening outside, quickly ran towards us.
Someone
He beat him up with a bat,
Someone
and then tied him
did
up with a
something,
rope
bro.
he got out of his shed. And I heard John mutter, "I thought you were alone." Once my dad made sure I was alright, he called the police and Callum. John began laughing like a maniac and yelled out in anger when he was arrested. "I kissed her. She's mine. Mine."
This dude
Later,
is
we got a
weird, bro.
phone call from the police, and it turned out that he was high on drugs, and his room was full of pictures of me, as well as a diary describing plans to kidnap and murder me.
Oh,
After
man.
that, John was sentenced
I'm not
to jail for
surprised.
7 years.
7?
I'm 22 now, and Callum and I are still together. We've just moved to the city together recently. I have deleted all social media, but I'm still in fear. We are 2 years away from the date John will be released. And I know that one day in the future, John will likely come looking for me
Callum,
again.
Callum, my boy, some advice for you. You don't have to take it, because at the end of the day, who am I, right? Alright, you better finish what her daddy couldn't finish, alright? That's all I gotta say. I'm just saying. I had a car accident and something was trying to kill me.
When I was 14 years
Y'all
old,
saw how
we
fast I
traveled
read
to
that?
Jeddah for a few days. On our way back, it was just past midnight, and there were almost no cars around on both sides of the highway. My mom, dad, and I were chatting and laughing at each other. However, we just ran out of topics soon, and I decided to lie down in the back seat. At that moment, I heard a loud bang and passed out for a few seconds. When I got my senses back, I tried to sit up, but the car felt like a roller coaster, so I struggled a little. When I finally sat up, I grabbed the shoulders of both the driver and passenger seats. And then, looking out through my window, I realized that the car was on mid-air floating.
Still?
When the car dropped, the front bumper dismantled and slid past the right windows of the car.
Who's driving?
What makes the matter worse, our car did not stop for us. It just started to run at a very high speed, and my dad and I freaked out due to the situation.
Oh my gosh.
My mom was insisting him to stop the car as soon as possible. I could see that he was trying, but the car wouldn't stop. Fortunately, we stopped at the fast lane of the highway, and there was a gas station on the other side of the road. We rushed out of the car and realized that our front left tire burst, and I could see that there was still no cars anywhere.
What does that have to do with him stopping the
road
car?
was totally empty. My dad was bleeding from his nose injury due to his first hit on the steering wheel when the tire burst. When my mom went back to check to see if he was all right, I suddenly started to have an eerie feeling. At that very moment, I could feel that part of the illumination from the gas station seemed to
Oh,
get dimmer.
hell no.
Lifting
no.
my head, I scrutinized in the woods behind the gas station. And then, two dark, gigantic figures were standing there and staring at
Whoa.
us. I thought I was hallucinating,
bro.
but those figures were literally standing there.
The heck are
Although
those?
I couldn't see their faces, I could surely see the silhouettes and those piercing eyes. Also, their sizes were absolutely abnormal.
You seeing things.
I stood there
You
in
seeing
fear.
things.
I couldn't even think of calling out my mom, saying, "Look over there." Then those two figures slowly walked away to the woods.
Yo, you all saw him?
disappeared.
Yo, he's like, yo, bro, where you going?
After those things walked away into the dark, the brightness of the gas station seemed to be back to normal again. And then, the cars on the road started to pass on both sides of the highway. It was like
That's
a
creepy.
moment of nightmare. We finally called the police, and not long after, 3 police cars arrived. At first, the cops didn't seem to believe us when we reported our situation. But anyway, we were taken to
They
the
never
hospital
do, bro.
and given treatment. The next day, a detective came to speak with us, saying that this part of the highway was known as a haunted road, and a lot of bizarre accidents have occurred, literally.
I believe him.
The local government tried to investigate what was the reason, but it has never been solved until now. Since that day, my family never went on that highway. And a few years later, that highway was shut down due to the rising number of fatalities.
Damn. We found out that someone was living in our bathroom.
This
What?
happened to me a couple of years ago. My family and I moved to a new house. It was
Before
quite
I even
old,
say anything, I want to see
and
what
it had been
happens.
sitting empty for at least 15 years before my family decided to buy it. At first, I was just happy that we had a new house, but after that, I had some weird experiences. My room was right across the bathroom, and at night, I would hear strange noises coming from it. Actually, if you listened more carefully, it sounded like it was coming from the walls. But when I finally got enough courage to walk towards it, the noises always stopped. Not much later, I got used to the sound and eventually stopped being scared of it. But that wasn't a problem compared to other things. My
What?
stuff started to go missing, like my clothes, underwear, and even one
Nah,
of my
bro.
pillows.
You got a
Sometimes
sick
I yelled
demon
at
on
my
your
little
hands,
sister,
bro.
Since she often came into my room. I thought that she probably stole my stuff, but whenever I got mad at her, she said, "Why would I take your underwear? I'm not a thief." Eventually, I couldn't find my stuff. Even worse, our food also went missing, little by little.
Damn.
My family and I felt uneasy. One night, I was laying in my bed about to go to sleep, and as I rolled over, I saw a figure in front of my door.
Oh my god.
That sent chills down my spine, so I rubbed my eyes, and it was totally gone.
You gotta get
I
out of
thought
there.
it was just my imagination,
You
but
gotta get out
after
of there.
that, I started receiving little notes on my bedside table when I woke up.
Oh.
Pretty, I see you. And other weird things were written on it. However,
He's
I
playing
figured
with
that my
you, bro.
sister was trying to scare me,
And
so I
you
just ignored
still
it.
think it's your sister.
And that day became the most terrible memory of my entire life.
You caught them taking a shower?
One day, my dad and I were fixing up the bathroom. Because the entire house was pretty old, we were repairing the inside of the bathroom first. As we were tearing the tiles of the wall, Dad took the huge mirror off, and at that instant, I screamed. There was a little room behind the mirror, and there I found my stuff and even my underwear, along with empty food wrappers. We couldn't believe what we just saw, and Mom immediately called the police.
Did they
They
catch him?
arrived pretty fast, and when they inspected that tiny room, they found out that there was a man who had been living in it for at least a couple of months.
Months?
But he was not there, so the police promised that they would search for him outside. After that, we demolished the room, and since I turned 18 years old, I moved to my college nearby and got my own apartment. Sometimes I go back to my hometown to visit my parents, but never spend the night. I know that the man was still never caught, and I'm always paranoid,
Nope.
wondering if he's still hiding somewhere in
Yup.
the house.
I got attacked
This
by the
happened
creepy
6
guy
years
who
ago
broke
when
in
I
our
was
house.
16 years old.
Attached.
One day, my parents were going to a concert in California.
Yo, hold up.
Was
Look at
16
the
years
mom's
old.
hand.
One day, my
Yo!
parents were going to a concert in California.
I
So one of
can't,
my
bro.
best friends and I had a sleepover. at
Johnny
my
Bravo?
house. After my parents had left, we played some video games, ate some snacks, and a few hours later, we finally went to bed when we got bored watching some more movies on Netflix. I was about to sleep, and at that moment, I heard some loud noise. It seemed that our house's window was broken by someone. Being freaked out, I woke my friend up, and of course, he got mad. "Dude, get into the bathroom, now!" I said to him.
Get
He
into
replied,
the bath.
"Why?" But there was no time to explain. I got up, pulled him by force, and we went into the bathroom.
Yo, this man's
I
dragging
was
him,
paying
bro.
attention to outside if I could hear any footsteps. Then, someone was running towards us. As soon as I locked
Damn.
the door, the intruder stood in front of the door and said to open up with a deep and low voice.
Bro, it looked like he had an axe on
He
him.
didn't say anything. He stood there for a second, and then he abruptly
Bro, back
started
up.
kicking down the door.
Back up.
"Open it! Open, or I'll kill y'all!" We were so scared at that moment.
This man.
He finally broke down the door, and while they succeeded to
Oh,
come in,
he does have
I
an
quickly
axe.
grabbed some medical scissors at the same time.
Stab him, bro.
I screamed and stabbed him in the leg. He dropped the axe that was in his hand, and then I finally saw his face. He was in his mid-50s, and he had long, shaggy hair with 70s-style
Man,
glasses.
y'all both could take him on,
His
bro.
eyes were all bloodshot, and furthermore, I could see that he was drooling like a mad person. I will never forget the way he looked the rest of my life. Just then, he violently grabbed my scissors and stabbed me in the arm.
Oh!
When he attacked, suddenly I felt a deep pain.
Where's Johnny
and
Bravo
I was
at?
so terrified, thinking that we were going to die in here.
Johnny, do something.
Closed my eyes, and then my friend started punching his
Oh,
face.
hold up, hold up.
The deep pain, and I was so terrified, thinking that we were going to die in here.
Oh, yo,
Closed my eyes,
yo.
and then my friend started
Yo.
punching his face, as he had learned martial arts for self-protection, and who had
And it took him this long? It took homeboy this long to actually do something? Nah, fam. Nah, fam. If you're my boy and you rolling with me and something like that happens, bro, I'd expect, as soon before he even stabbed me with the scissors, bro, I would have expected you to like spear him out of nowhere, bro. Come on now.
enough strength to beat an adult up. He attacked his face several
Oh.
times and took away the scissors from him. I started to help him attack that man. With one hand, I punched him in the throat, and when my friend pushed
That boy
him, throwing
Umanga
to the
him,
ground,
bro.
we finally managed to get out of the bathroom. Before the man tried to escape, we pushed the couch from the living room with all our might and trapped him in there.
Where's that axe, bro?
He slammed the door and yelled with a mad, angry voice, but it was impossible to escape. I grabbed my phone and called 911. About 10 minutes later, 3 police arrived and they went into the bathroom. When they entered inside, they witnessed a full pool of blood, took him outside, and arrested him.
Oh,
Our
I thought he
nightmare
killed
was
himself.
finally finished at that moment. One of the police officers stayed with us, and my parents had to come back home early the next day when they had got a call from the police. After that, it turned out he was a serious kidnapper who had a mental issue, and he was sentenced to jail for over 10 years. Since then, I've never had
Attempted
that kind of
murder, and
experience
you only
ever.
get sentenced for 10
However,
years?
I always wondered what would have happened if my friend
Nah,
wasn't there
fam.
with me.
Nah,
I
fam.
will always appreciate
Uh-uh.
him for saving my life.
A crazy guy stalked me and my dog got killed.
I was
Oh,
26 years
shoot.
old when this incident happened.
Sorry,
One
bro.
day, I was
My
taking
bad.
a walk with my dog Molly. After
Molly.
walking 2 more blocks, we saw 3 men smoking on the porch and talking to each other. 2 of them didn't pay attention to me, but one was staring in my direction.
The
He
bald
was a
one.
bit bigger compared to the other 2 guys.
Yo, you
He
better
looked
tell
like he
Caillou
was in
to
his
chill, bro.
20s and was also bald.
Tell
I
him to go
quickly looked
somewhere
the
with
other
that, bro.
direction, but then he yelled at me from behind. "Hey, gorgeous, nice puppy you got. Come over here and let me pet her."
Oh my
Then I
God.
heard laughter coming from the other 2
This
men.
man Caillou
So
got
I
weak
ignored
sauce,
them
bro.
and rushed over to my house.
That's weak sauce, Dan. Do not enter that sauce in the county fair because it is weak.
At first,
Oh,
I didn't
man.
tell my parents anything, thinking that it wasn't that serious, but I was wrong. The day after, I walked my dog as usual, but because I was feeling a little bit scared, I took pepper spray with me. I walked past the same house hoping not to see that weird
just take a
man,
different
but he
route.
was there again. He was sitting on a rocking chair on the porch, and when he saw me, he shot up
Oh
from
my
his seat.
God, Caillou, bro.
In fear, I picked up Molly and bolted down the sidewalk,
Chill
trying to get
out.
away from him. But to my horror, he was chasing after me. He pushed me to the ground, making me fall onto the hard concrete floor and dropping Molly. I started screaming for help, for anybody to hear me, but he covered my mouth. Clawing at his hands, I realized that I had the pepper
Dirty
spray
ass
in my
hands
pocket.
you got, bro.
So I grabbed it and sprayed it in his eyes, and after a while, he eventually screamed out in pain and rolled off my body.
Fam, nah,
I
kick him.
quickly got
Kick
up
him.
and picked up Molly. When I got home, of course, I frantically explained the situation to my parents.
All right, Dad. Now
My
what you
dad,
about to do?
who was a retired Marine,
Oh!
wanted to go to that house.
Let's
But
get
Mom
it.
just told us to go to the police station. I told an officer what happened and showed him my injury, but they didn't really help me. A couple of
Dad,
months
you gotta
later,
take matters
I
into your
started
own
working
hands, bro.
at a 7-Eleven. One day, I was walking home after my night shift. And when I turned the corner, I noticed a truck driving slowly and way too
God,
close
bro,
to the
Kai, you
sidewalk.
just leave her alone.
I
She
didn't
don't
pay
want
any
you.
attention at first. But when I was standing in front of my front door, I looked behind me and saw the same car. Two men were in the truck, and I could see that they were watching me.
You could tell the one
I
on the
told
left
my
is
parents again,
baldy,
and
bro.
because of this, my dad was on the lookout in front of the house for a few weeks. Nothing really happened until that night. That night traumatized me, and the guilt still chokes me to this day. It was about 2 in the morning when Molly started barking at something out the window. Being too tired, I just shrugged it off and drifted back to sleep. Until I woke up to the sound of Molly yelping in pain. I opened my eyes
my
and saw my
God.
dog's lifeless body on the floor covered in blood and a dark figure over
Oh
her.
my
It
God.
was him.
You sicko.
Do you think you could get away from me? No, you were wrong.
You sicko.
He climbed over me and started punching
Oh!
my face. With my blurred vision, I kept on kicking and hitting the man,
Bro.
but he didn't even flinch. And next, I
Dad,
heard
where
him
are you?
struggling to get his belt off. Pure terror swept over my body.
bro.
I let out a scream before he could cover my mouth. All of a sudden, the door swung open.
All right, Dad.
My dad had his gun in his hand, and my mom was behind him.
Strap.
As soon
Boy.
as Dad saw the man,
What you got-
he shot him twice.
That's what I'm talking about. A third
The
time,
man
just in
screamed
case.
in
A third
agony,
time, bro.
and I pushed him off of my body. Dad grabbed him and started beating him, showing no mercy, and Mom
Good.
called the police.
Good,
I
bro.
then ran
Blind
to
him.
Molly, but she'd already passed away.
Damn, bro. I feel bad
About
for the
5
dog.
minutes later, the police arrived, and they arrested him.
Let me guess. He got
It
5
turns
years.
out that it was not only that man, but also his other 2 friends who conspired this. Their plan was to break into our house, kidnap me, and rape me. Fortunately, they were caught and sentenced to 16 years in prison
That's
for
still not
multiple
enough.
charges.
Still not enough,
Until
bro.
now, I still live with my parents because of the fear
He look
of
like he's
being
30.
alone.
He'll get out when he's like, what?
And
46?
I feel sorry for Molly. I really miss her. I miss her so much.
I'm sorry, bro. I have an unforgettable memory of.
It was a
Oh
normal
my God!
boring
Hold up!
day in winter.
Hold up!
Miss her. I miss her so
Damn,
much.
bro. I don't want to hear her voice right now. I have an unforgettable memory of the snowfield where I almost died. These long titles, bro. These long
It was a
titles.
normal, boring day in winter, 2015. I was at home and had nothing else to do that day.
Look at my dumb ass, bro.
So I told my
I got the
mom that I
cap
was going
on.
for a walk with my dog. I decided to take him for a 5-minute walk to the field near our house. And when we got there, the place was totally empty. I couldn't see anyone walking around. But I didn't mind though. So we started walking again for more than 5 minutes. Then all of a sudden, I heard something. It was kind of like someone was moaning.
Whoa!
I looked around to see where this sound was coming from.
Whoa!
At that moment, I saw it. there was a man wearing a dark black trench coat with his hood up and winter boots. Being frightened, I quickly ducked behind a tree, hoping that he didn't see me. I laid down flat and ordered my dog to hide. He lay in the snow, digging his mouth into it. The man stood there for a while, and then he slowly walked off. A few minutes later, when I couldn't hear his feet anymore, I quietly got up and said to my dog, "Come." He followed me, and by this time, I heard the creepy moan again behind me. I was terrified. I hesitated at first, but slowly turned around to see what was going on. Well, I hope no one ever has to go through something like this.
What'd you see, bro?
Because what I saw at that moment became the worst nightmare I've ever had in my whole life.
Bro, spit it out.
He was there.
That's it?
He stood there staring at me. But this time, he wasn't alone.
Oh, he brought his boy.
There was also a woman next to him.
Oh, his girlfriend.
And now they both had large knives in their hands.
Fresh off a clean
Especially,
hit
I could see
too,
that
bro.
the woman was covered in blood, and her
Oh
bright
my
smile was spreading across
God.
her face like she was insane. I started running away, calling my dog to follow me. I was almost halfway to the field, but then I accidentally fell to the ground and landed on a broken beer bottle, which penetrated the side of my leg. It was painful, but there was no
You better
time.
use that bottle
So
to
I
your
used all my
advantage.
strength to pull out the broken piece. I managed to pull it out, but after that, it was hard to get up and run.
Oh, man.
I struggled to crawl on the field, spreading blood in the snow. I knew that it was definitely visible to them, and they soon found me. The woman got close to me.
Oh,
"Leave me alone!"
shoot.
I shouted to them, hoping that someone would hear my voice for help. But
You
no
all
one was
alone.
around. All of a sudden, my dog got
Oh,
in front
the
of me
dog.
and started growling at the woman. And when she kneeled down to stab me, he instantly jumped up
Oh.
and bit her neck. She yelled and swung around the knife on him. When my dog collapsed, injured on the ground, an
Damn,
uncontrollable
bro.
anger surged up within me. I got
Not
up,
the
grabbed
dog.
her knife, and stabbed her side. I started to choke her, but then a sharp pain penetrated on my back, and when I fell to the ground, I could see the man was standing behind me. I thought I was going to die.
Damn,
And in
bro.
those few seconds, when I was about to close my eyes, bang! His arm was blown off.
Oh,
It was my neighbor living next to our house. He was holding a shotgun in his hand.
a shotgun.
He told me later that he'd went hunting, and when he visited
How
the
you get him
field,
from
he
that
heard my
far?
voice. His hunting dogs rushed up to the man and bit into his shoulder. After that, my neighbor got to me and tried to help me to stand up, but I told him to help my dog first instead of me. Then I finally blacked out.
Damn, bro.
When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. My family was standing next to me with my neighbor. He told me that after I blacked out, the police arrived with an ambulance and that my dog was taken to the veterinary clinic. And
Your neighbor's the
survived
OG.
by a miracle. A few minutes later, a policeman came to report the information that the man who attacked me had been arrested,
Let me guess.
but
8
the woman
years.
had died from shock.
Good.
And it turned out that they were serious criminals, and when they were sent to the mental institution, he had escaped with the woman. After that, my neighbor lost the right to own a weapon because he shot at a person.
What?
But he didn't care, though. He just told me that he did the right thing to
Bro,
save...
oh my god, these laws are so corrupt. How? You're defending yourself, bro. Dawg, that's what I'm talking about, bro. This country, man.
someone's life. And he
Nah,
also said
bro.
that he's just glad I'm alive.
If I would have known that, I would have easily shot his head off, bro. I don't care, bro. If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out like a G.
Well, I'll never forget about this incident, ever. And I will always thank my neighbor
Getting
and
me
my
hot,
dog
bro.
for saving my life.
Don't leave your keys inside your house. Damn,
It was
bro.
Friday the 13th. I was walking home from my friend's house. It wasn't a long walk, maybe 5 minutes. As I got to my door, I realized I didn't bring my keys when I left my house. I took my cell phone out from my pocket to check the time, and it was 7:30 p.m. My parents usually don't get back home from work until 8:45 p.m. So I decided to walk to my grandparents' house, which is only about a 10-minute walk. As I was walking down the street, I saw a shadow behind me. I turned around, but no one was there. My heart started racing and I started to speed up. Then I saw the shadow again, following. I turned around again. Nobody was there. I was kind of scared at that time, but thankfully I was getting closer to my grandparents' house. I texted my grandma and told her to wait outside the door for me, and she replied with an okay. When I turned the corner, I could see the house and my grandma standing there. I started to feel calm again, like
I'm still
nothing was
hot.
going to happen to me. But I was wrong.
What happened?
As I was about to cross the road to get to my grandma, I was suddenly pulled into an alleyway.
Oh,
One hand covered over my mouth and another hand was around my body. With such an abrupt attack, I couldn't get my scream out. I looked down and I could see a very dark, black hand with
Ew.
long, pointy black nails.
that's a
Lots
demon.
of cuts and scratches were all over his hands. Its face was getting closer to mine. And it
Hot as
smelled
breath.
like dead bodies. When I looked next to me, I could see a little part of its face. It was pale white with a tint of gray.
That's Caillou, bro.
I could tell that it was not
16
from
years
here.
later.
It was something that we should not know. Tears were flowing down my face. After being dragged through the alleyway, I was dropped onto the ground. When I moaned in pain, that creature stood over me, breathing into
Oh,
my
it's a
face.
creature?
Now I could clearly see its face. It had big black eyes, a big open smile with pointy white teeth, and a long red pointy nose. I closed my eyes, hoping it was just a dream.
That's sick, bro.
However, I felt their hand and
Okay,
nails
we
were
still got
starting to
time,
dig
we still
into my
got
neck,
time, boys.
slowly and painfully. I struggled to breathe, but it was impossible. My vision was slowly blurring. And at that moment, someone put their hands on my shoulders. Another put their
Ooh.
head on my right shoulder and started to whisper in my ear with a strange voice.
Death?
So, this is how you end up when you forget your key on Friday the 13th.
What?
Then the creature started laughing, and then everything went pitch black and silent.
Alright. Wait, what?
When I opened my eyes
Y'all
again,
just saw that?
I heard a... Then the creature started
Look,
laughing.
look, look,
and then
look.
Everything went pitch black and silent.
Look! He just sliced his head!
When I opened my eyes again, I heard a bunch of people shouting, "He's back! He's back!" I was lying in a hospital room, and all my family was standing next to me. I looked to the left of me, and there was a woman doing something next to a monitor. I asked her, "Excuse me, why am I here? What happened?" And she responded, "You were found in an alleyway near your grandma's house with scratches and cuts on your neck.
Damn.
As soon as your grandma saw you being pulled into the alley, she immediately ran after you.
Grab my boy.
She found you laying there as pale as paper, with your phone in your hand and blood running from your neck onto the ground. So she called 911, and now you're here." Looking her straight in the eye, I was immobilized with terror. I couldn't believe what she was
No.
saying, because I couldn't remember what happened to me. And then, when I looked to the right of me on the bedside table,
Your
there
keys?
it was. I could see my house key.
Hey, a blessing in disguise, bro. Cause you never know what could happen to you, bro. So don't ever forget your keys.
Sometimes you never truly know what is out there.
I didn't even read the
until
title.
You've seen your nightmares come to life. I was about 21 years old the day I realized its true meaning. At the time, I worked in a warehouse for minimum wage. There was this dark corner in the very back of the
They
warehouse,
underpaying y'all.
which every employee knew about. It was an unnaturally cold place with stale air. I felt like it was alive, watching closely over your shoulder. Despite having an old factory light hanging directly over the shelves, it was never a bright place. My job was to stand and scan all of the items on the shelf, along with pick lists, which were printed lists with items on them. The models would wear these items, and then I would put them back where they belonged. It was a Wednesday, and my team leader handed me a pick list of items for the models to wear. It was my job to get them to the studio for fitting as soon as possible. A hat, check. Some shoes, check. And then the third item.
What was it?
sweater. When I arrived at the dark corner, there was a woman standing near one of the shelves. I could hear her breath shaking as she was hunched over it, scanning each item as quickly as she could.
She looks like she got her
Occasionally,
energy
I would hear her
drained.
say the F word as she scanned the many items, trying to
She
find
don't
the
like
one
her
she was
job.
looking for. I looked at my pick list and searched for the shelf number. At every step, my body would come closer and closer to the very corner of the warehouse. I could feel something staring at me. It felt like they were a foot behind me. I looked
probably
at
the
the
woman.
shelf and took another few steps towards it. The deep beating in my chest grew, and the urge to look behind me became the only thought in my head. I finally looked. There, behind the woman, was a manly figure with long arms coming out of his back.
Oh man.
The arms dripped with black smoke. The beating inside of my chest grew louder and louder until I could even hear it.
That's who's draining her,
She
bro.
didn't even notice. She didn't even see it, but I could see her arms shaking. The figure wrapped his arms around her and pushed her body into his, as though his chest could feel hunger. I didn't know what to do. It's not like she could see it. How am I supposed to tell her to run if she can't even see him? Frozen.
That's a
I
demon.
stood
That's
there,
what happens when a
watching
demon
this
gets attached
thing
to you.
wrap himself around my coworker. Then he saw me. He saw me looking right at him and noticed I could see him too. I looked down quickly at my pick list, hoping he would believe I didn't see him.
Nope.
If I just finish this thing, I can go. The number for the shelf was JH243, which was the last shelf at the end. I was about 5 feet away from JH243 when I lifted my gaze up from the ground. Long, slender fingers slowly crept over the corner of the shelf. The corner grew shadows darker than anything I could have ever imagined.
Run!
Following the fingers was an inhuman head, ever so slowly creeping itself around the
Ew.
shelf. I had to do this. I had to get the item as fast as I could so I could leave. Acting as though I didn't see him, my gaze locked on the shelf, and I grabbed the sweater I needed. One scan. It didn't work. I scanned again, and it didn't work. A black shadow encompassed me. I could see the top of his head, but his eyes didn't come second.
Bruh.
He didn't have a face. It was just a pit. As fast as I could, I grabbed the
Just
item the
run,
woman was
bro.
looking for and hurried her
That
away.
minimum wage ain't worth
After
it.
that terrible incident, a few weeks later, I hosted a birthday party at my house. My guests kept saying they heard whispering and ended up fighting each other during a cookout.
Oh.
I brushed it off as people playing jokes until I was alone and doing the dishes another day. And I heard this constant whispering like someone was right in my ear. I was so scared and thought my boyfriend was playing a joke to scare me, but he was at work. And my sister was also at work. I hung up the phone and then went into the kitchen, and all the drawers were open. Later that day, I was cooking in the kitchen and my sister made a joke about the house being haunted. While she was talking, a cross fell off the wall all of a sudden. I placed it back on the wall and she made a joke again about it being a demon. Then the cross
Shoot,
came off
bro.
again.
That ain't no
And I
joke.
told her not to worry about it because maybe the nail wasn't right and laughed it off.
Yeah, keep making
I
excuses.
placed the cross on a bookshelf nearby with its back on the surface. She was quiet after that until she made another joke to lighten the mood. The cross on the bookshelf, which was across from her, flew off horizontally. Weeks went on. I began seeing this shadow in the morning when I woke up. I ignored it because no way was that real. It was just my imagination. I didn't know where else to go, so I went to the church for help, telling them everything I was experiencing, but they said they couldn't help me. I tried sitting in the church, and all I heard was hissing. Literally, snakes hissing. Like it didn't want me to listen.
You gotta get baptized.
Not only that, but I went from a positive, happy person to a grim, hateful, resentful girl.
Just like
Really wishing
that
something
coworker.
happened to people was dangerous. My dad has been convinced to this day that I was possessed by a demon because of how much my personality changed. After that, I stopped accepting any guests. I started throwing up everything I ate and couldn't keep anything down until I was hospitalized for starvation. I just remember the day I felt so weak and called 911.
Damn, bro.
I was scared. I felt like I wasn't going to be here for much longer. Then, all of a sudden, there was a light that told me it was okay. I never knew what it was. After that, everything was gone.
That
I
light
was
just
there
saved
for
your
3
soul.
weeks with mental evaluations, and they said nothing was actually wrong with my mental health. I don't know what is out there, but that experience scared me. And this is what made me realize that something is out there.
That's wild. Alright, boys, thank you for tuning in so much, man. I appreciate it. That was 16 Horror Stories animated compilation of June 2020. Link will be right down in the description below. Make sure you guys check that out, please. And also, if you guys like my content, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for me. You know, it lets you know when I post. Please hit that, boys. I don't know why my voice is like cracking, probably because I'm screaming a lot. I don't know. But anyways, guys, yeah, man. Any more announcements? Nah, bro. Just to refresh on what we touched on in the beginning. It's hard for people to find my channel. All right, guys. You guys know the reason why. Because whenever you type my name in, you're not gonna get anything. In order for you to find my channel, you're gonna have to type in Mr. President and whatever game I play, whether it's Outlast or whether it's Scary Stories or whether it's Last of Us or Until Dawn, then you'll find my channel. Should be the first video anyways. But if you just type my channel alone, no, it's very hard to find it. You're gonna get a whole lot of political stuff, so that's why I keep telling you guys to subscribe and to hit that post notification, because that lets YouTube know that, hey, bro, okay, this guy isn't about political stuff. Maybe we shouldn't throw him in this category. This guy's about gaming. This guy's about, you know, he's the real deal. You guys know what I mean? So yeah, hit that subscribe button for me, please, and hit that like button for me as well. But yeah, boys, thank you guys for tuning in so much. Appreciate it, man. Stay tuned for next week's Scary Stories. If you guys want to send me something to react on, just send it to me. Just follow me on Twitter. It's gonna be right here somewhere, I don't know. But yeah, boys, appreciate it, man. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm out.
Panic. I'm thankful for my life and I can take this shit for granted. I'm from a different breed, like I'm from a different planet. They keep me where it hurt, but your boy still standing. It's easier to fly, but the real skill landing. And if you ever cross me, I don't believe in second chances. I might just show some love, but I don't believe in no advances. I need it up front, cause you don't know my circumstances. I spend my life